Today I'm going to be putting together a nest box, and the reason that I want to do this and show everyone at home how to be able to do this as well is because it's really important to help us provide habitat to our native birds. Here in South Australia we are so lucky to have so many different native birds, and it's really helpful for us to be able to provide extra habitat for them. They're losing a lot of their habitat due to urbanization. A lot of mature trees are just getting cut down or aren't having the opportunity to get larger. So by building a nest box, you're providing them with an artificial hollow, like the kinds that they would use in those older trees, in a spot for them to make a nest. Now the type of box that I'm going to be putting together today is for smaller parrot species. Think your Rainbow Lorikeets, Red-rumped parrots, Eastern Rosellas, those types of birds. So anything larger like a cockatoo, you'd have to look at building an even larger nest box, because as a larger bird, they need a larger hollow. One of the reasons why we're doing this video for you is it is part of National Science Week. And here at Zoos SA, we're really focusing in on birds and their habitats and how we can help maintain them. To start off with, I've already got two sides together here. I've got one of our side panels and our back. That's what's got this little keyhole here. Now those have been lined up with our slight angle here. Eventually when the top goes on, that'll be angled forward, so any rain that falls down does kind of get pushed off there. Now you can see on this side here, there's a little bit of a groove there, and that is where our base plate will fit in. It just slots directly in there. Now we first use our wood glue and then we start nailing it down with our front panel as well. So we just put a little line of the wood glue along that channel there, and we can place it right into that slot. If there's a little bit of excess, that's not a problem. We can wipe that away later. Then I will flip it this way, and that's when we put the front panel on. Now with our front panel, obviously we've got our entry there for our small parrot, as well as a spot for them to climb in. If you also look at the inside, we've got almost like an internal ladder. If you've ever watched a small parrot kind of climbing around, they'll use their beak and their feet. This is just a way that enables them to make sure they can get out of the nest box after they get in. So we place that on the front here. Again, just making sure we've lined up that angle, because the top here has that angle as well. Just making sure that fits nicely. Then we will go ahead and put our wood glue on, just one nice little line across the side panel and the base. Now we can put that right in the spot where we know that it fits. Excellent, that is all nicely lined up. We can just wipe away some of that excess glue, and we'll go ahead and drill those same holes. So we go about 2 centimeters down, right in the middle. Excellent. Once we've got that hole pre-drilled, we can then put our nail right in. Now when we are putting our nails in, we do want to leave that little bit of space at the top, just in case we need to do any realignment later. Makes it a bit easier to come right out. And we'll do the same thing with 2 other nails down the side, right in that spot as well. Again, leaving that little bit at the top. And then we still have it nice and flush down here, so no problems there. And we'll put that last nail and before I put all those right in, just make sure we don't have any overhangs there. We don't. So right now all I'm doing is just screwing in the base, so pre-drilling that hole again, and then we know that it is nice and even there, so not to worry with don't need to leave that bit overhanging. So it's attaching the front, and then the back is what we will do here. Make sure we have that facing the way that we can see. All right, so that is at least part of our bird box complete, and this is where it gets a little bit more finicky. Now that we have our 3 sides, so our back, side, and front all attached, I have just put our door here, and that has this little handle on it. So that is not attached at all. It's just in there to make sure that everything is spaced nicely as we place the top on. The top has got these grooves here as well, so it fits nicely, and you want the overhang to go over the front here. That way, you know, that way the rain, again, goes the way that you need it to go. So we just put a bit of wood glue on the 3 sides that we've attached, making sure that you do not get glue on the door side yet. And again, making sure everything is relatively flush. Any excess glue, just wipe away with your damp cloth. And we'll do the same thing where we pre-drill our holes and then put the nails in. And we'll start diagonally, make sure everything's still aligned before we do our other 2 spots. Excellent, so we've got those 2. Our door still fits in very nicely, so we can finish off with our other 2 corners. So now that we have our bottom, top 3 sides done, it is now time for our door. And this is a bit tricky, but pretty important. We want to make sure that it can still freely open, which it can. Our last remaining hardware, we've got our 2 screws, and then we have a bit of a door stop here. So we'll just be putting these in on the sides. Again, pre-drilling the holes will make it a bit easier to open and close. So we'll just pop that down this way and put our screws. Cool. So now that we've got that in, that will still open for us. That's how we get the bedding in. That's how we check how things are going on the inside. But you don't want the door just swinging on open. So the last thing that we do is actually put our hinge stopper in. So this goes in at an angle and then stops the door from opening in. So this one is, you do need a larger drill bit than for the nails. So we'll do that just here. And that should just a bit further in. That will get us to that way when we put that in, keeps the door closed. You take it out, lets you open up your beautiful nest box and check on what's going on inside. So now that we have our finished box here, it will take about 24 hours for all of that glue to dry. And then because this is untreated wood, ideally we would go in and either paint it with a water-based acrylic paint or any sort of outdoor furniture oil that can be applied here as well, just to keep it safe from the elements. When you go to install it, just look for a tall tree, installing it about 4 to 6 meters off of the ground, as that is where parrots would want to be doing their nesting anyways. Keeps them safer from predators. For more information on how to install it, all the different safety steps that you need to take, there's more information here as well. But right now, our bird box, it's pretty empty. As a lot of us know, a lot of birds need some kind of nesting material. Now, the folks at Faunature, who we've got this box from, they also provide us with a bit of wood shavings here. When you're ready to install it, these can go right in the bottom, and that's a really good starting place for our birds. This is the kind of thing that does need to be replenished about every year or so, so you just put a few more wood shavings in there. It's important to do your research on what the bird needs that you're building a box for. So cockatoos or possums, even if that's who you're trying to build a box for, they're going to need different supplies in their habitat.